All right, thank you, everyone. My name is Assemblywoman Michaelle Solages. I represent the 22nd Assembly District, which includes Valley Stream. I'm Deputy Majority Leader of the Assembly, and I'm thankful for everyone here today. We have a very important topic that we need to discuss. I first want to just lay out the foundation that I'm very grateful for the leadership at MTA and Long Island Railroad. We appreciate Kathy Rinaldi, and she's doing a fabulous job, running two of the biggest commuter railroads in the nation. And just to give you some statistics, Metro North, the ridership of about 48.9 million was up about 49% from 2021. And also the ridership of Long Island Railroad, which is about 52 million, was up 50% from 2021. And so more commuters are getting back to the city, and it's important that we just have someone focused on Long Island Railroad. We see that the last immediate past president retired in late February, and again, we appreciate the current leadership, but we really need a dedicated person devoted to running Long Island Railroad and focusing on the needs of what's happening in our region. And we've seen too many little things fall through the cracks, whether it's the 20-ticket ride or the one ride to Atlantic Terminal, or right here, the caliber of the station of Valley Stream. We're seeing too many things fall through the cracks. And we really need an advocate, a devoted president that can listen to the concerns of the people, be here in the island, and engage commuters and elected officials. And so I'm calling on the MTA to appoint a permanent president for the Long Island Railroad. And this is not just, a request from myself as an elected official or the elected officials standing behind me. It's really a request from the commuters. The commuters are demanding this because they are having too many concerns and issues. And so, I'll be speaking through the press conference, but I first want to call up my counterpart, Senator Patricia Canzoneri-Fitzpatrick, to say a couple of words.
Thank you. Thank you, Assemblywoman. I'm honored to be here today to speak out on behalf of the residents of the 9th Senate District, which is my district. And again, my name is Senator Patricia Canzoneri-Fitzpatrick. As part of the Republican conference, we sent a letter back in March requesting a forensic audit of the MTA because we believe that there's a misallocation of resources. Many times when we've asked throughout the district for repairs, such as the Valley Stream train station that is in desperate need of repair, or even trimming bushes, we've been told that there's not sufficient funding to allow for those improvements to be done. And we believe that there is a need for better management of the resources that we have, because the MTA needs to be a good neighbor for the communities, to the communities that it flows through. So along with everybody here, we're asking for better leadership from the MTA to make sure that these projects are done on a timely manner to address the concerns, because it's unacceptable that we need such dire repairs here in Valley Stream for years. So again, I thank the Assemblywoman for bringing attention to this important issue.
Thank you. And I also want to call up Senator Thomas, who has been working with me hand in glove on several issues dealing with Long Island Railroad. And so, as you can see, this is not about, political persuasion or, even where you're from in Long Island. This is about making sure that Long Island gets the focus that it needs. So, Senator Thomas?
Thank you. I'm State Senator Kevin Thomas, and I represent the 6th Senatorial District. And of course, I have a number of LIRR stations in my district, as well as constituents that take the train to the city every single day. And not having a leadership, a president of the LIRR is actually affecting their quality of life. And a good example of that is the elimination of the 20-day trip LIRR ticket. Many of my constituents still are doing the hybrid work week, and this is actually incredibly helpful for them. We want to make sure that things are affordable here on Long Island. And the fact of the matter is, eliminating this 20-day trip ticket is very bad for my constituents. And we need to change that. We also have a number of other issues, dealing with the LIRR and our commuters. But first, we need leadership. We need someone to take the helm of the LIRR and focus on this area. And I want to thank my colleagues in government, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, for standing with us today, because this is about people, not about politics, and this is about making sure that our constituents come first and our commuters are given the priority that they deserve, given the amount of taxes that we pay and the ticket prices that we pay. Thank you.
Thank you. We're now going to hear from a constituent and then Assemblyman Curran. But first, I want to introduce Ms. Marshall to talk about her experience as well as a commuter.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Denecia Marshall. I've been a resident in Valley Stream for over 25 years. I have taken the train to work to Manhattan, to Brooklyn, and currently I work at CUNY York College, and I take the Long Island Railroad to Jamaica, and I have been complaining pre-pandemic about the conditions at the Long Island Railroad. It is in one look at it and you know, it's in dire need of renovation. Additionally, there is no focus on maintaining the cleanliness of it. I see people who are disabled taking the elevators, and they're complaining about the cleanliness because you go in the elevators and it smells like urine. The elevators need to be renovated as well. We need leadership desperately, like yesterday. So I hope this helps in getting some real leadership here, because Rosedale looks better than us. Lynbrook got renovated. What's going on with Valley Stream? Thank you.
Thank you. So next we're going to have Assemblyman Curran.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Assemblywoman, for inviting me here today. You know, the call for leadership at the Long Island Railroad is long overdue, and it is a perfect setting here for Valley Stream for this press conference, because this is a perfect example of what lack of leadership can happen in a system where millions of commuters rely on every single day to get to work. We stood here less than a year ago to complain about conditions here at this station, deplorable conditions. And this is after several years ago, our former governor saying that he was going to put in $1 million into this station for renovations, which never materialized. And when you go to the Long Island Railroad and you say, what happened to that money? My commuters deserve a good station. They say they don't know. They don't know what happened. That's a lack of leadership. That has to come to an end. And that's why I compliment the Assemblywoman and the senators here today to demand that leadership. On top of increased fares, on top of pending congestion pricing that is supposed to go to this system, I think the commuters deserve better, especially in the 21st Assembly District, here in Valley Stream, in Baldwin, and in Freeport stations. Thank you again for inviting me. I hope that the Long Island Railroad gets the leadership that it deserves. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to have another constituent or resident and commuter come up, Mrs. Rahall.
Hi.
And just say your name.
Hi, I'm Kendra Rahall. My daughter commutes on a daily basis, 3 times a week. So that 20 ride ticket was vital to her. She's a college student, doesn't make a lot of money. She's got mom and dad to help out. But buying the full month is ridiculous when she's not doing the full month. And the 10 doesn't, if you do 2 10s, it doesn't save as much. If we had leadership at the top, they'd know how many of the people commuting are using that trip, and they'd be able to advocate for those people. It's the fact that Valley Stream, which is a hub, looks like this, should be an embarrassment to the state. And we really do need leadership to take the reins and make it better for each of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Then we have 2 more speakers. Next is the mayor of the village of Valley Stream, Edwin Fair.
Good afternoon. Again, I stand here with Deputy Mayor John Tuffarelli. 1 year ago to the day, we stood here and asked the MTA and the Long Island Railroad for accountability. We asked them to improve the station. We showed them deplorable conditions such as the pigeons, the slime, all of the rusted trestles and overpasses, all of the crumbling concrete. The commuters of the village of Valley Stream deserve better. All the speakers before me spoke about leadership. I echo those. With leadership comes accountability. It seems no one is accountable. Where's the money? Where's the repairs? Where is the benefit to the commuters who use this station every day? A year ago, we went and took pictures of all the cars parked under the trestle, and they were covered in slime. Do you really want to come home from working all day in Manhattan and find your car legally and correctly parked, covered with some goo that we can't even identify? The bottom line is, I want to thank all our officials in the state and echo what was said, whether Republican or Democrat. The MTA and the Long Island Railroad needs leadership, but with that leadership comes accountability. And that's one of the issues that myself and the deputy mayor would like to know someone who answers us. We held this press conference here a year ago, dead silence for a year. No response, no feedback, nothing. Our questions, our inquiries were ignored. So I hope with the help of our brothers and sisters in state government that maybe we get some answers after today's conference. Thank you.
And you can hear the frustration, and that's why it's so important that we have an individual that understands the nuances of Long Islanders who can be here to assuage any concerns. And our last speaker is Amil, being shy here, a young student and person who actually used the tickets, the 20-day trick. Come on, go on, don't be shy. Can you say a couple of words about your experience?
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you to everybody for coming here. My name is Amil Virani. I recently started. Oh, thank you.
No.
Oh,
You
right
just
here?
speak loudly.
Oh, right here. Okay, got it. I recently started a job with State Service, so I don't use the monthly trip ticket. I started out using the 20 trip ticket because that's what my boss advised me to use. And now that trip ticket is gone, so that means that I'll either have to pay for a monthly ticket that I'm not going to use, or I had to actually purchase my 20 trip tickets in advance, right? And when I read in Newsday what the reasoning for this was to cover the savings for those who use the monthly trip ticket. And my response to that is that who goes in using the monthly trip ticket anymore? We have remote options, and it doesn't make sense to use a monthly trip ticket given that I'm not going to be commuting 5 days a week. So I want to thank everybody here. It's really important that we get the 20 trip ticket back, because it's just becoming more and more expensive with the new fares to come into Manhattan, and I'm going to be forced to use a monthly trip ticket that I don't even use. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, very good. Yeah. So you can see, as Long Islanders are grappling with the affordability crisis, that we need just someone to be responsive to our needs. And we thank the current leadership, but definitely we need someone solely devoted to Long Island. So with that, anyone, young woman you see over there, anyone want to speak? Nothing else? No? All right, with that, any questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Whether for you or any of the commuters, I wanted to ask if what thoughts you have about the schedules after the open Grand Central Madison. I know everything was turned upside down. They've got some changes that are taking effect next week that they say they hope will address a lot of the concerns. I'm wondering what you all thought of the schedule.
So as I've been receiving a lot of complaints about the schedules. When I speak to General Lieber or anyone up in the MTA leadership, they point out that there's now more service into the city, but it's not the service that my constituents want, right? There are more rides into Grand Central, but not to Penn Station and not into Brooklyn. And that is unacceptable. My constituents have a schedule. They have workplaces in a certain area, so to take the train to Grand Central is just not reasonable for them. And that's why they need to reassess the schedule. They need to increase the number of trains to Penn Station and not increase the number of trains to Grand Central. Sorry.
We'll have Ms. Marshall go, and then you go. You guys say your name.
Okay, Paulette Hugo McLean. I'm a longtime Valley Stream resident. I'm a teacher, so I go from Valley Stream into Atlantic Avenue. And what I had was able to find out is that apparently we are going to get 1-seat rides back for 2 trains in the morning rush hour, and we're very happy about that. But then I was looking at my return trip. There is no 1-seat trip back from Atlantic Avenue. I will say, yes, there are a lot more trains leaving from Atlantic Avenue, only to dump you out of Jamaica, waiting for trains that come when they come. So part of the issue was addressed. You got us in, but then you dumped us there, and there seems to be no concern for getting us back home with the same degree of punctuality, reliability, and dare I say comfort. Is that too much to ask?
How does that make you feel?
I'm very, very annoyed about it, not being able to participate in any of the discussions that are going on, if there are any discussions. Feeling like we're just at the mercy of some unknown entity is very unsettling. It is also unsettling for groups of us now to feel that we are being a burden to other passengers that come in on these trains. These trains come from Grand Central, whatever, Madison, Penn Station, people spread out and comfortable. And then we, who don't have that luxury of being on a 1-seat ride home, get on, and we are in imposition clearly because people do not want to move over to let us sit down. I will say this. I heard 2 people talking who were already on the train with all of these people getting on, standing in the aisle. They were upset because there was not enough air circulation due to all the people in the aisle. And that man said to that other person as they sat, "Don't worry, they'll all be off by Laurelton." What does that mean? And if you know that they're only going to go 2 stops from Jamaica to Laurelton, wouldn't common sense, never mind etiquette and courtesy, but wouldn't common sense tell you to move over so people don't have to climb over you? Or are you counting on people not wanting to climb over you for 2 stops and then climb back over you so they'll just stand? I have lived here for over 25 years. I have never seen such disregard, callous disregard for people in my life. And I'm very, very saddened by it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Anything? No problem. Then we have and then any
So-
other elected? You want to speak?
I have taken a train when I worked in Brooklyn, and the train was going straight to Brooklyn. That was beautiful. What you did with the breakup of getting off at Jamaica and then having to go to track 12 to get on a train, that is crazy. You're putting so much pressure on the commuters to hustle to make that train. That's ridiculous. Okay? And then think about people who have packages. Think about people who are modified with their health. Think about people who are disabled and they have to do this hustling. That's insane. Okay? So I think that piece of the service definitely needs to improve. But I also want to bring it back to the conditions of this railroad. I mean, look at it. Okay? Please, can we focus on that? Get some leadership here to take care of this. There's no reason why the waiting room upstairs should look like that. That needs to be just tear that down, rebuild it, and make it so that you don't have all of those deposits from birds in that waiting room in the vents. That is clearly unhealthy. This waiting room I had complained about previously because even when commuters come home, the doors are locked. So if you're waiting for a pickup, especially in the winter, you don't even have the comfort of waiting inside. Leadership, and guys, please do better, because guess what? There's a lot of revenue coming from this railroad. You're making well over $2 million from this railroad, okay? Please do better. Thank you.
In regards to,
Yeah, we'll have
I
you speak
just,
after
I
the
just wanted to
senator.
make a quick comment. Assemblyman Brian Curran and I conducted a survey of the ridership on the West Hempstead branch, the people that were getting on at the Limbrick and the Westwood train stations. So to answer your question directly, when we did our survey, most of the people that gave us comments, we brought that to the MTA, and there was a few changes that were made, but there were a number of people that were not happy with the times that we were left with. As Senator Thomas said, the times were not convenient for the commuters. I have known on a personal level that, as was said by this resident, you get out of Manhattan, you get out of Penn Station, you get dumped at Jamaica, and now you're waiting 15, 20 minutes for your connection, which has never happened in the past. I commuted to Manhattan for years, so I've seen how the schedule has deteriorated, and I do think it needs attention. Thank you.
Anyone else? Oh,
it's all been
you
said.
sure? No, you can say it again. Don't worry. The constituents
To
can say it
reiterate,
all over again.
Again, my daughter was drastically affected by those changes made. And if we had had a dedicated leader advocating just for LIRR, maybe there would have been more focus on that. And even with the changes, it's still not compensating for it. And the stopping in Jamaica and waiting and having to walk through Jamaica to get to different tracks, anybody who really knew the LIRR would know that that's not the best way of managing that station. So it really is a concern. Thanks for the question.
Just to follow up, and then so I'm sure the MTA would say, hey, Kathy Rinaldi has got a dedicated staff of Long Island Railroad of people, and you know there's plenty of people minding the store, all that stuff. How do you envision having a dedicated Long Island Railroad president? How would that be different?
You know, I definitely appreciate the operations that are happening behind the scenes, but the president is more of a spokesperson, a mediator, an individual who are coming in our community and being the face of Long Island Railroad. So it's really a position that that people feel is someone that they can touch and feel. We want someone that we could touch, feel, and talk to and advocate, and then translate that information to the operation managers. Because I want the operation people to focus on the operations, but we need a president that's focused on making sure there's connections between the operations and the commuters. Anyone? Any other comments? Anything else? Any other questions? All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.